There was a time when Raheem Sterling didn't have to speak to be noticed. He'd walk onto the pitch, chest forward, boots glinting, and defenders would already be planning their retreat. He didn't need interviews. He didn't need noise. His game was the voice. But now he walked into Cobham training ground, and people looked past him, not out of disrespect, but routine, like he was furniture, part of the setting. It happened slowly, the fall, not with boos, not with banners, but with absence, with silence, with young names on fan jerseys that aren't yours anymore, and Raheem felt it. He heard it in the radio chatter. He read it between the lines of tactical briefings. He saw it in Maresca's eyes, not cold, not dismissive, but scanning, always scanning, for something new, something next. When Chelsea brought in yet another flashy winger this summer, Sterling didn't flinch. He just nodded. Because this wasn't new. He had lived this before, at Liverpool, at City, the cycle, the arrival of promise, the whispers of replacement. But back then, he had time. Now, the calendar wasn't on his side. Neither was the system. Maresca was building a machine, interchangeable parts, tactical fluidity, pressing from the front, technical wingers who cut inside and drifted between lines, like chess pieces. And Raheem, he was Raheem, not robotic, not algorithmic, not programmable, explosive, emotional, streaky, human. That's what made him brilliant. And now, what made him inconvenient? Preseason passed like a blur. His name never made it to the predicted she lists. Fans debated his exit. Rumors swirled about Saudi interest. Even his biggest supporters started using past tense, greater than he was great. He had a run. Shame how it's ending. But it hadn't ended. Not yet. Behind the scenes, Sterling was quiet, but focused. He changed everything. Cut sugar from his diet. Slept in compression gear. Hired a neuroperformance coach. Watched tape from his 2018-2020 peak seasons, over and over, like an actor rehearsing the role he once nailed effortlessly. He stopped listening to what they were saying about him and started listening to what he used to say to himself. It was during one of those late-night video sessions, watching himself breeze past defenders in a City shirt, that something in him snapped. Not out of anger, out of clarity. He walked into Cobham the next morning at 6:15 a.m. Alone. No media. No coaches. Just cones, a ball, and the sound of boots on wet grass. The groundsman looked confused. Raheem nodded. I've got time left, but only if I move now. By the end of the week, players started noticing. He was sharper and raw-nosed, shouting louder during pressing drills. His touches had bite again, not magic, but meaning. Still, Maresca didn't look his way until one day, Raheem looked his way first. After training, while others were peeling off boots, Sterling approached Maresca silently. No drama, no speech. He sat down across from him. I know I'm not your project. I know I'm not the future. But if you give me one real shot, I'll make you rethink everything. Maresca didn't blink. He just stared. Greater than I don't want rotation minutes. I don't want favors. I want to start. One match, on the wing. I'll earn the next. The request wasn't arrogant. It was raw. Human. And Maresca, who studied men like Guardiola, who understood systems could never fully replace souls, saw something he hadn't in weeks. A man cornered. Not afraid. Alive. That week, something shifted. Whispers in staff rooms, tactical reshuffles in training. Sterling's name reappeared on the simulation boards. But then, the blow. Leaked internal lineup for match day 1. Sterling, BENCHED. Again. No conversation, no explanation. Just cold ink on paper. He didn't break anything, didn't storm out. He just sat alone in the gym. No headphones, no music. Just breathing. He knew it now. This was the gamble, the final one, because the clock was ticking. He placed every chip he had on one more moment. And fate is cruel, but sometimes it gets distracted, because 2 days before the match, during a final training scrimmage, one of Chelsea's new attacking signings went down clutching his hamstring. Everyone froze, except Maresca. He turned to his assistant coach, didn't speak, just nodded towards Sterling, who was stretching quietly on the sideline. The message was clear. Get him ready. And just like that, the gamble was on. The bench was gone. The whistle was coming, and Raheem Sterling was about to play. For his name, for his spot. For everything. Asterisk, the locker room felt like a vacuum. Not quiet. Heavy. Match day 1. Stamford Bridge buzzing outside. Fans singing. Phones buzzing. Boots thudding softly against concrete floors. But in one corner of the dressing room, Raheem Sterling sat alone. Head down. Hands wrapped. Eyes locked on nothing. He didn't need a mirror. He'd already had his reckoning. This wasn't a match for him. This was a trial. When the lineup went public 90 minutes before kickoff, social media caught fire. Sterling starting? Really? Is Maresca mad? Last chance saloon. It wasn't hate. It was doubt. The kind of doubt that doesn't scream. It whispers, and it spreads faster. Across the bridge. Pundits on commentary booths gave the usual corporate phrasing. Greater than. Sterling brings experience. He can still offer moments. Big test for him tonight. Translation? He's a gamble. And he knew it. As the team stood for the pre-match huddle, Maresca didn't speak. He just looked at Sterling and gave a nod. It wasn't a vote of confidence. It was a reminder. This is your moment. You asked for it. Now take it. The whistle blew, and the clock began. First 10 minutes. Awkward. Sterling misread a run, misplaced a pass, got muscled off the ball once. A few groans from the crowd, a few nervous glances from the bench, but no panic. Not yet. Then came minute 16. A loose pass from the opposition midfield. Gallagher pounced. Ball broke into space. Sterling darted in, not the way he used to, not with sheer velocity, but with precision. He beat the fullback, not with pace, but with positioning. Cut inside, dropped the shoulder, carved a window with a body feint, and then the ball curved. A left-footed strike across goal. Keeper beaten. Off the post. It didn't go in, but the crowd felt it. And more importantly, he felt it. He was in the zone now. Every touch sharper, every sprint committed, every pass delivered with intention. And then the twist. Minute 33. Cachito plays a quick 1-2 with Enzo, slips the ball between the lines. Sterling times the run. He's through. The crowd rises. The defenders close in. He doesn't hesitate. One touch. To. He doesn't shoot. He squares it. Nkunku taps it and goal. Stamford Bridge roars. But Sterling doesn't celebrate wildly. No fist pumps. No knee slides. He walks back, chest calm, face focused. He knows what he just did. He didn't score. He resurrected himself. At halftime, the dressing room was different. Quieter. Even the younger players, the flashy ones, the new signings, looked at Sterling now not as the veteran, but as a player reborn. In the second half, he didn't slow down. Dribbles, recoveries, a tracking run that saved a counterattack, a clever dummy that split the lines. Every movement screamed one thing, greater than I'm still here, and I'm still better than most of you thought. By the time he was subbed off in the 78th minute, the fans stood. Not all of them, but enough applause. Real, rising, earned applause. As he walked to the sideline, Maresca offered his hand. Sterling shook it. Then Maresca leaned in. Greater than you. Got your next match. Sterling didn't smile. He just nodded. Because this wasn't over. This wasn't redemption. This was resumption. He hadn't won anything. He just made them remember. Later, in the post-match press zone, the reporters waited for soundbites. Sterling gave them one. Just one. Greater than I know what they say. I hear it. That I'm finished. That I peaked. But I never came here to be remembered for what I was. I'm here to prove what I still am, and maybe that's enough for one more run. Then he walked away. No PR handler. No sponsor board. Just Raheem, walking out of the tunnel, into the night, into the unknown, but this time with purpose. Because this season, this isn't a comeback tour. It's the last dance. And he's not dancing for applause. He's dancing for survival. Greater than they tried to write his ending. He tore the page, and now, Raheem Sterling isn't chasing legacy. He's fighting to remind the world he was never done to begin with.